Hello everybody, welcome in to Talladega Superspeedway. It's the fastest track in NASCAR, and it lays host tonight to the PGR Money Racing Series. That is Pacey Gray Racing. Drivers qualifying now, getting ready to take on the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. And boy, am I excited tonight, not only for the race, we got a couple of the overlays fixed up. And we got a couple new guys in here tonight. A lot of veterans overall, just a big field. And you are not going to want to miss out on this one. Let your friends, let your family know. Get on in here. We saw the duels earlier tonight. A lot of these guys real anxious. They're ready to go. We are going to put on our own showing here at Ghost Racing Network. You are watching, of course, with the Green Ghost. Appreciate everybody that came out. Taking a look now at Steve Korosek. He is going to see what kind of lap he can put down right here. Nobody on the board just yet. Steve is going to go top of the board, though, on his first lap, and we are going to reload this a couple times just so we can make some edits to this tower that you guys see. And doing these edits, we'll have it all set up nicely for the race, because you see there, custom numbers will get loaded in once the race gets started. While we're still in qualifying, color is going to stay a little bit more uncertain. Let's focus on the drivers. Now we see Zachary Lima. He finished his lap. Saw him in the dash for the Cash Series the other night. John Mullihan. This is the first time I've seen John over here. Good to see him out here. See what he can do. Jimmy Reynolds. This is another driver that I at least have not seen out here just yet. These trucks at Talladega maybe put on the best showing. I know a lot of drivers say they like the Xfinity cars more, but they just seem not to put on quite as good of a product as we see in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Going to be a shorter event tonight, but we'll talk more about it. See if he can take top of the board here. Looks like he will. He's going to go for this lap, actually. Does go fourth, though, on the board. See if that is where he's going to stay. It looks like he is just going to pull off, wrap up his qualifying time there. Danny Barnes back out here. Good to see. Mike Davenport, this is one of the team PGR drivers. Hometown, Colorado Springs. See what he can do. Refresh this here again. Get it back set. About a minute left here in qualifying before we are going to go green for what is sure to be a good 40-lap shootout tonight. This is the biggest field that PGR has seen so far. New series, only their third race. How about it? Good-looking field here for a Thursday night. Tomorrow does start, I guess not the official Speed Weeks, but in real life, going to be the NASCAR Truck Series, then the NASCAR Xfinity and ARCA Menard Series. On Saturday, I will be at the Friday and Saturday races. Getting excited for it. But before we can get there, we're going to get through tonight. Gonna be a bunch of fast-paced action all night. Not sure who really is going to be the favorite tonight. Usually we can pick one early. Not the case tonight, but it looks like we have only had 10 drivers qualify so far. Not sure if anybody else is going to be able to get a lap in, even if they decide to. Let's take a look at the owner himself. Going to be racing tonight as well. Michael Triscaro got the win. Not last night, but on Tuesday in the RMR Tuesday Night Thunder Series. And he is back out here to see what he can do tonight. I am feeling a little bit better. Finally got some of my voice back, but who knows, we might lose it again tonight. These guys are going to put on a good showing. Won't be surprised to see 3, maybe even 4 wide as this race goes on. Going to be a pit stop. No stage breaks, but we'll talk more about that as we get into your race info. First, let's get down. The drivers are gridding up here. And let's start with your starting grid tonight. I know we took race info, but let's go with your starting grid tonight. Starting on the pole, first place tonight is going to go to Mr. Steve Korosek. To his outside, starting in second, Zachary Lima. Third, John Mullihan. Fourth is going to be Jimmy Reynolds. Row 3, Danny Barnes and Michael Triscaro. Seventh place, Larry McDonald. To his outside is Mike Davenport. That is a Team PGR driver. Ninth is going to be another Team PGR driver, at least from what I know of. That's Curtis Rogers. 10th is going to be Michael Eden. 11th, John Ward. To his outside, Sean Hill. 13th, Chad Ross. And rounding out row 7, it's going to be Mr. Eddie Hawks. That is a McCall Motorsports driver. Behind him, it's going to be another McCall Motorsports driver. And 15th, Ken McCall Jr., his outside, his teammate, Ron Morris Jr. Moving back now to row 9, 17th, David Sheets. 18th is going to be Joshua McCall. That is a new McCall Motorsports driver. We might actually have to put that in his little bio here before we get started. 19th is going to be Mark Von Dell. 20th, Danny Eshelman. And that will round out the field for a 20-truck field. Very, very impressive. Very excited for it. Before we get to this part, let's go ahead and get into your race infos. These guys should be getting just about ready to roll. You see it up top, PGR Money Racing. It is going to be the SIMBOX 105. We are at Talladega Superspeedway. Big 2.66-mile oval. Heavy banking in the corners, long straights. There's going to be a lot of bump drafting. Winds at 9 miles per hour, clear skies. Maybe just have a cloud or two around. 76-degree temperature. Race format, you see it down there. It is going to be the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series for 40 laps here, 100% fuel. Unlimited tires, 1 fast repair. Keep that in mind. That's going to be important as this race goes on. And as always, we are on fixed setups. That is how we do these money races. It gives everybody an even playing field and a fair chance. Let's go back down to our TV camera here where we're going to give a little bit of extra shout out to Steve Korsek, who looks like he might already be saving a little fuel. We saw him doing this the other night. You never know what you're going to need. And these trucks with 100% fuel, not going to be able to make it all 40 laps. But they are not going to have to take much fuel when they do decide to pit. What will be interesting is to see if they decide to go with the early pit strategy. These guys maybe try to run it out till the end. We might even see a mix. Just going to depend. And we are just getting a couple things finished, set up on our end over here. And then we will be ready to go green and get up to racing here. Good to see some of these guys out here. I see Larry McDonald in the field. Michael Eden, as we said. Good to see him out here. Joshua McCall. That's a rookie I'm going to be keeping my eye on tonight. We'll see if he can get the job done. Gonna be, like we said earlier, though, a 40-lap event. Do these guys choose to get racy early? We see the big wreck a lot of times in these races. Sometimes you can kind of get a feel for it. If it seems like it's going to be that way, we won't know until we probably get about 5 laps in. And then I think pretty much anybody that's watching is going to be able to tell you if they think there will be a big wreck before this thing is all said and done. But a lot of these guys really amped up and ready to go after they just watched the Cup Series in real life, get it on in the duels at Daytona. And now we are going to duel at Talladega. Get your picks in now. Who do you think is going to win it? Steve Korsek going to have to fend off that outside charge from Zachary Lima, mostly on that first lap. But he's got a veteran pusher and John Mullahan behind him. Second row on the outside, Jimmy Reynolds. We'll see what he can do in the 17 machine. Pace truck pulls off the track. Field now crawling into the tri-oval and in to the Geico restart zone momentarily. Green flag is out. We're racing here in the PGR Money Racing Series. Steve Korsek gets a pretty good jump. You see John Mullahan taking no time to get right to his back bumper. Into turn 1. That inside is linked up a lot quicker. But don't give up on the outside just yet. Down the backstretch is going to be where all the momentum is going to carry. We'll see if John Mullahan can keep that 27 out front. And does he decide to make a move if he gets clear? Looks like he's not going to be able to. Now we see Zachary Lima trying to get up to the front. Further back, looks like a little shuffling. Couldn't tell exactly who that was. Might have been Chad Ross. Sure enough, that's who it was. Going to fall to the back early. Just wants to ride around a little bit. These trucks hold a lot larger of a draft. You can fall a lot farther back than you can in the Cup cars. Steve Korsek still in control. Ooh, John Mullahan washes up just a little bit. Got to be careful. Don't want to get into anybody's door. If you do, sometimes those trucks lose control into the tri-oval, though, here. Lap 1. Going to be a drag race. We'll see who gets it. It looks like it is going to be Steve Korsek in the 27. Now we got that first lap out of the way. Some of these guys looking to settle in and have to log some laps before we can get anywhere close to the end of this thing. Top 5 payout tonight. As long as I remember right, it was on our starting soon poster. Remember, no 3 wide rule either, and that's important because further back, here he is, Michael Triscaro jumping out of line, and he is going to get help from a couple of guys. It looks like John Ward. And it's the 55, Mike Davenport, his teammate. Looks like he did change his paint scheme up, at least for the Truck Series. John Ward drops back down to the middle. Is going to leave those two hanging We saw a lot of 4 wide in the dash for the Cash Series. I don't know if we'll necessarily see as much of that here tonight. These guys all just as talented, but maybe not necessarily as experienced of a group. 4 wide, a very difficult thing to do here. Pretty much the equivalent of 3 wide at Daytona, where you can do it, but you better make sure everybody is holding that wheel absolutely as straight as possible. Both lines really starting to organize now. That outside, Zachary Lima and Jimmy Reynolds trying to make their way to the front. Jimmy in the 17, let's take a ride on board with him to see how the pushing is going. Riding on board now with Jimmy Reynolds on that outside line. You see him all over the back bumper of Zachary Lima, trying to give him a push as they work their way into the tri-oval. This is an area you really don't want to push. If you try to push in that tri-oval, you are asking for a wreck. Looks like three shot in the chat says, are these real players? Absolutely. Yeah, I know maybe it's hard to believe, but that's just how good every single one of these guys are. Yep, real drivers and real money on the line tonight. Winner going to go home with probably over $100. We did have top 5 payouts. They will scale a little bit. Yes, every one of these are real guys going for it. And you'll see that later when these guys start to do a little bit less give and take and all take. We see 3 wide further back. John Mullihan's getting a push from Michael Triscaro. Mike Davenport back there. So, oh, the 4 wiggles. Can he hold on to it? Oh, he's not going to. They're wrecking. John Ward back up the track. Caution is out, and this one collects a handful of guys early. 2 car gets around it. Michael Eden's got damage to 55. Mike Davenport's all tore up. Joshua McCall, though, looked like squeaked through it. That's who caught my eye. I saw the 2 car make it through it. 55 right down to pit road. He knows he is going to need a fast repair. Not sure what went so wrong, but let's take a look at it. I saw Zachary Lima initially wiggle, and that may have been what started all this chaos. Take a look from TV2, and it looks like there's already a guy in the wall. That is Jimmy Reynolds. Let's see if we can get a better view of this. Here we go. So you see 3 wide further back. Into turn 3. Zachary Lima looks like he's diving down, maybe trying to get a side draft off the 7. That is Danny Barnes. Oh, no, actually the 7 washing up. Danny Barnes comes up the track, makes contact with Zachary Lima. You see Zach working the wheel, trying to save it. Gets up into the 17. That sends a 17 across John Ward's bumper and into the wall. And at this point, the 17 looked like he was doing a pretty good job keeping it up in the wall. Ooh, but down low. It looks like that is, couldn't tell, that's going to be the 65 Curtis Rogers. And this is kind of just a stack up. Everybody's trying so hard to get through it. And you'll get a better view of it here in just a moment. Watch these guys scatter. The 65 Curtis Rogers looks like his teammate Michael Triscaro trying to avoid as well. Makes contact, sends him into the 92 of John Ward. And then from here, it's on. See, the 92 gets turned around, slides down. And what goes down must come back up. Here comes the 92, makes contact with the 34, back up the track. This is going to be a pretty hard hit for John Ward in the 55. Shoots Mike Davenport. Wow, big impact on the 55. And just guys piling up right now, nowhere to go. But looks like that 2 car, you see him in the middle right there, squeaking around all this. That's Joshua McCall. And let's take a ride on board here with Josh. See what he was looking at as he worked his way through it. Here we go. Oh, man. How about the rookie getting it done here quick? That takes experience. You wouldn't know he's new watching him do that. Avoiding these wrecks is no easy task, but he does it. Saves himself a fast repair. This is going to shuffle up your top 5 up front. Now it's going to be Mike Davenport. A little surprised to see him back out front. He is going to have to fall the back, actually, so we're going to scratch that. Steve Korsak going to be starting first. Second, John Mullihan. Third, Danny Barnes. Fourth, Larry McDonald. And 5th place now is going to be Sean Hill in the 77. Do remember, all these guys have a fast repair, so the ones that were collected in that wreck to a point where they have damage that's going to slow them down, they can use that fast repair. They're not out of this race just yet. Unfortunate side of that, though, is they're going to have to be a lot more careful through the rest of this thing. You do not want to get caught up in another wreck. Keep that truck clean until the end so you can go race when it matters. I think Danny Barnes here, we haven't seen Danny in a little while. Just, you see it right there. Just such a small mistake can cause so much chaos. Driver of the 7, no intention on that. Just maybe even tap the apron. Either way, though, washed up the track about half a lane. And when these guys are 3, even 2 wide sometimes, you just can't do that. Saw him get into the side of the 4. Did a nice job saving it. Unfortunately, a lot of these guys couldn't. Let's take a look throughout the field here. Curtis Rogers, wow. Surprised he has not used a fast spare on that truck just yet. See if he changes his mind. Michael Triscaro, same deal. These guys maybe had to tow. We'll see. But Michael Eden, looks like he did use his fast spare. He's back out here. He's going to have to be a little bit careful for the rest of this race. So did Mike Davenport. We saw him up front, but knew he had to fall back. Jimmy Reynolds. Jimmy, I thought maybe wouldn't have to use his fast spare. He did, though. So he is going to have to be careful. And then Chad Ross, first driver that got through it in front of him. 2 McCall Motorsports teammates, Kenneth and Joshua. How about making a trio? Ron Morris Jr., Mark Vondell, John Ward. So McCall Motorsports has a lot of their usuals, their regulars, if you will, in here tonight. And a lot of guys topping off, and this is going to be crucial. But you know who doesn't is Danny Barnes. He likes the idea of track position, and he's going to stay out so he can get it. What I was going to say here is these guys that we all see pitting, this is because it is really close on fuel now at 100%. These trucks can make about 30 to 33 laps on gas. So no surprise to see everybody come back down. And I think everybody that we saw pit in general took 4 tires either this time or the time before. So they should all be good to go the rest of the way. They might have to save a little bit. I don't think you necessarily want to be the leader the rest of the way, but Danny Barnes is going to try it. If we get a caution late, he should be able to save the rest of it, what he needs to make it. And if you are just joining in, you are watching PGR. That's Pacey Gray Racing. Thursday night action here at Talladega Superspeedway. It is going to be a top 5 payout. And I'll tell you what we'll go ahead and do here. We'll grab our little calculator, do a little math for everybody here so we can tell you what the payout should look like tonight. Try to do this, but sometimes get a little busy. But I know it always makes it more interesting for you guys to know. So we'll gladly let you know on that number. Danny Barnes is going to be on that inside. Michael Eden on the outside. He may have also decided not to pit from what it looks like. Mike Davenport went to the back. Now going to be back up front. John Mullihan, Steve Korsek going to be making up 4th and 5th. I'm trying to see if I can find where this is based off of. Looks like it's not. Oh, there it is. So based off 30 entries, so what we can do, a winner would have got 150. We'll take 30. We'll take 20, actually. Divide it by 30. Do that times the 150. So the winner going to be going home tonight, from what it looks like, with $100. Yeah, it is top 5 payout. $100 for a $15 entry. Pretty significant. Jonathan News says, can anybody hear the trucks just barely? All right, I will turn that up. Thank you for letting me know. This is what I'm saying. What you guys got to do is let me know, and I can fix it for you. What I do need you guys, though, to do for me now is let me know if I sound too loud, too quiet. Get that fixed for you. Wes Sloggett has also joined the chat. So I did turn it up. Let me know if that sounds better for you guys. Pace truck pulled off. Green flag is back out. You see everybody on the inside. That is because they all chose to pit. Going to get a little interested. Michael Eden has absolutely no help. Going to fall all the way back. Zachary Lima going to waste no time. Takes him 3 wide. The 7 of Danny Barnes jumps to the bottom. Zachary Lima already trying to get back up to the front. You see the 6. It is David Sheets. Paint scheme didn't load in tonight. But up front now, the outside, looks like 55 had to go up top to block the big run coming from Steve Korsek. Danny Barnes got left out. John Mullihan and Sean Hill now jump to the bottom. Side by side down the back. Ooh, you see that 19 snaking in and out. He is trying to get the 55 clear. Going to be able to do it here into turn 3. We'll see if Mike Davenport thinks about jumping up higher, stays low. We will be coming to lap 9. Oh, more contact between the 19 and 27. Got to be careful. They're trying to side draft each other. Don't want to accidentally get caught up in each other's mess, though, right now. Through the trial to lead the first lap back. Green, it looks like it is going to be Steve Korsek just by an inch. Further back, got a lot of shuffling. They've single filed back a little bit. You can see it back here. I think these are some of the drivers that are saving fuel and also trying to play it safe. Michael Triscaro, unfortunately, in the back right now by himself, and it looks like he has elected not to use his fast repair yet. Must think these guys are going to wreck again. We'll see if it plays out for him. Same deal with Curtis Rogers in the 65. He's going to need a competition or a caution. Chad Ross leading the back of this pack. In front of him, Jimmy Reynolds, Ron Morris Jr., Ken McCall Jr., Joshua McCall, and a couple other McCall Motorsports guys who are all just sitting in line right now riding. Kind of a battle of two strategies up front. These guys going at it. They all want the lead. Further back, these guys watching for the wreck, trying to save fuel. And David Sheets, Sean Hill, the only two McCall Motorsports drivers, really dicing it up in that pack. Larry McDonald further back in it. And we are going to see 3 wide here. Oh, that got a little close for a minute with Danny Eshelman, Larry McDonald, and it looks like the 6 maybe tapped the wall just a little bit. I think he's okay. The 27, Steve Corset, got clear up front for just a second. Looks like he decides not to take it. And how about this view? Take a look at the whole field. You see the 55 has some damage on the door. Not going to affect him being there on the side, especially that minimum. You really just don't want to see any damage on the front, but I want you guys to look inside that cockpit. Look at the helmet of Steve Korosek. That is, I noted this a couple races ago. We never got a chance to get a good view of it. But that has got to be my favorite helmet design that I've ever seen in the game of iRacing. You see it with the eyes and the teeth. And him and Zachary Lima now going to get clear and drop low. 11 of 40 laps completed so far. Remember, going to be really close on if these guys can make it the rest of the way without stopping. 40 laps, that's 29 to go. You still got a decent way. Ooh, Larry McDonald maybe came out a little early there. But as I was saying here, this is a pretty decent amount of laps to go. If you're in the back like they are, they really don't need to make a rush. It's starting to calm down up front. Sean Hill saw his teammate Larry McDonald, so he decided he'd jump up, see if he can make anything work. The 80 drops back down low. That's going to just make it to 77. Danny Eshelman and Michael Eden. Now Sean Hill drops in line, and here we go. We are seeing the classic super speedway. Kind of this time where everybody just going to tick off these laps. Line up single file. This might give us a chance to go over just a couple storylines. Haven't had anything too crazy throughout the race. We talked about Michael Triscaro falling back. Let's talk about where that first wreck kind of started, just in case you missed it. Danny Barnes in the 7 slid up, made a little bit of contact with the 4 of Zachary Lima. They kept it together, but unfortunately further back, Michael Triscaro got into it with his teammate Curtis Rogers. They were both trying to sneak around it. That caused what was our first and only caution so far of the night. Besides that, these guys keeping it clean. And how about we do a little Thursday night PGR, crank it up. Here we go. And that is going to do it for tonight's segment of Crank It Up. I hope everybody did enjoy. Up front, it's still Steve Korosek in the 27, followed by Zachary Lima, second. Third is Mike Davenport. Fourth, John Mullihan. And rounding out the top 5 right now is Danny Barnes in the 7. Good recovery for him after that first incident. Let's take a look now at your track map, though. And you see it here. Some of these guys, we just saw Michael Triscaro, the 34, go a lap down. I'm not sure with that damage if he's even going to be able to hold on to the draft. And he's got to be careful now, because if he goes 2 laps down, not going to matter if he still has that faster pair saved. His race very well might be over. I don't know if I completely love the strategy call here on the 34, but we'll see if it pans out. Curtis Rogers in the 65, the next driver in danger of going a lap down. You see it up there on your track map towards the top right. He has highlighted that blue dot in turn 3 and 4. And then you see the rest of the dots. That is this main pack being led by the 27. And they're tracking him down in a hurry. The time difference from a pack to a single file truck is absolutely absurd. When you throw damage into the factor of that single file truck, all it's going to do is amplify how quick that pack is going to run you down. And we can actually take a look at it here. Let's look at the lap times here for Steve Korsak. See the last 2 laps, 52.4, 52.7. Let's compare that to these 2 single file guys with damage. When you see it right here, a minute and a minute, that is a huge difference in lap time. 65, looks like he's got, yeah, he's still got some significant damage on the right side. I don't know if he's going to be able to hang with this pack. And they see Michael Triscaro in that draft of 59, but without it, 103. So he is really, really hoping for the draft. About the speed some of these guys are running here. Usually in the single file pack, that's where we see some of the fastest speeds, but I don't think that's going to be the case right now because they're all fuel saving further back. And you see it, 170s. These guys are not going full throttle. And let's go back on board with, oh, we're going to see pit stops. Oh, I'm very, very surprised to see this. Was not expecting it. See if everyone can get on clean. It looks like they did. I saw a lot of tire lockup. We'll see if anybody gets a speeding ticket, but Sean Hill did lead them down, and this is going to be all of McCall Motorsports from what it looks like, and maybe a couple others. Be very interesting to see who wins the battle out of pit road. I thought they'd be good on fuel, but I'm thinking they decided they weren't quite going to make it all the way. They didn't want to risk staying out in case they weren't. These guys are fast, and when they get in a group, they can run even faster. It's like Eddie Hawks, who somehow I haven't really noticed too much tonight. Let's go give a shout out to Eddie here in the 45, getting back up to speed. That is another McCall Motorsports driver, so they have probably 7 or 8 guys in the field driving out of Sanford, Florida. Let's go see if Steve Korsak's thinking about pitting here anytime soon. Looks like John Mullahan sure is. He's going to bring down Larry McDonald, the only McCall Motorsports driver that stayed out, and Danny Eshelman also going to follow in line. Got one further back. That is Chad Ross, John Mullahan's teammate, but I don't know if I like that choice from the 38. I'm not sure that he's necessarily going to be able to hang with this little pack of 3. He's going to have to get a really quick pit stop. These guys not going to take any tires at this point, just fuel. Splash and go, as they would call it. And let's look at now at the pit cam, because this is where you are going to see all the progress be made. There they go to pit road. There's the second pack. The first 2 group looks like it is going to be Sean Hill and John Ward, but overall that whole pack will tighten up. Just a matter of time, and let's see if Steve Korsak decides to go down this time. Still has Zachary Lima, Mike Davenport, Danny Barnes, Jimmy Reynolds. They are choosing to stay out another lap. This is where you got to be careful. They could make time, but they could also lose time. If they start losing, they're going to be in trouble. It looks like John Mullahan, the 19, just now getting passed by Sean Hill in the 77. John Ward pushing him. And this is where we're going to watch that gap to see if it closes. Currently, it's not. Sitting at 33.2. I think in just a lap, though, once everybody gets situated, we will see that gap start to close. Going by the lap car there, the 18 of Michael Eden. I believe he may have got caught for speeding. A couple other guys here did. Curtis Rogers on the pit. Ron Morris Jr. going to be one of those. Looks like he may have a little damage to the front right of his car, or his truck rather. Michael Eden, as we talked about. Chad Ross, unfortunately, doesn't have a draft right now. Came in with his Team 3 teammate, Danny Eshelman and Larry McDonald, but unfortunately was just too far behind to stick with them. Mark Von Deldo sitting 15th. He is right on the draft. We'll see if he can hold it. It looks like he is. He's about just over half a second out, but that gap is closing down. All he's got to do is stay right where he is and hope he can pull up before they get too far ahead. Ken McCall Jr. pushing his teammate, the rookie Joshua McCall. They're going to jump right to the outside of a couple of their other teammates. David Sheets, Eddie Hawks. Let's see, John Ward, Sean Hill. A little surprised these guys are getting racy right now. Because remember, they're trying to make up as much time as they can on this pack. And as it stands, they have lost a little bit of time. But now they're starting to slowly reel it back in here. At least on the 17 of Jimmy Reynolds. We just saw get on the apron. Boy, Jimmy's got to be really careful. There's 2 trucks on the outside. They're not going to make much progress. I think maybe they'll think twice, get back in line as soon as they can. Now we see that gap starting to slowly close, steady out at least. Got it down to 32.5. Remember, it started at 33, 33.2. And I know it may not be significant closing time, but any time these guys make up is going to hurt the rest of this field. As they make their way back out. Ooh, Eddie Hawks, a little bit of a wiggle in the bottom. Danny Barnes still sitting in this front pack. Zachary Lima, Steve Korsek. Still wonder when they're deciding to pit. It looks like they're going to go with the long strategy. I don't think by any way that pack that was further back would pit, and these guys would be able to make it. Because these guys are burning more fuel than that pack in the back was. And their lap times have not necessarily fallen off. You can see it, but here we go. They are going to pit. So forget what I just said. Let's see if they all make it in cleanly. Danny Barnes makes, oh, Steve Korsek locks it up. Drifts it, but gets in, and it looks like didn't hit anything or get into the grass. That was smart. If he would have got into that grass, that 27 was as good as gone, but hopefully he didn't get a speeding penalty. Zachary Lima making his way into his box. Steve Korsek now pulls it in. We are going to see who wins the race off pit road. And I think they made a smart decision by pitting when they did. They were slowly losing time. They might be able to be okay here, as it looks like Zachary Lima, the 17 Jimmy Reynolds, and Steve Korsek all got out pretty evenly, but you see the pack roaring down on them 2 by 2. And let's see here, the field creeping up. These guys going through the gears, getting up to speed as quick as they can. Look at the speed difference here, though. Steve Korsek, 150. Going to this pack, Josh McCall, 185, and they're going to blow right by him. Now the question is, can they hang on to back the draft? They're certainly going to try. They get out. I think they're going to be okay. 2 trucks, Danny Esserman. This might even help out Mark Vondell if he can catch the back of these two, and it looks like he does. Jimmy Reynolds going to get up there and try to push the 59 back, and now the race is officially on with 19 laps to go. No more single file action. Going to start picking up. Further back, some of those guys that are trying to catch will stay single file, but up front, as you see, Ken McCall Jr. working with somebody you may not think he worked too well with. Team 3, kind of the rival team to McCall Motorsports. These two, ultimately the same goal right now. They want to go home with some money, so they're fighting to get to the front of this pack. And you see there on your track map, it's like we're at Bristol. We got cars all over the place. So let's go through them one more time before we stay up front for the rest of the race. Ron Morris Jr. currently sitting a lap down. He's in danger of going another one down. Michael Triscaro still not used that fast pair, currently sitting a lap down. If we don't get a caution by the end of this, he may also go another lap down. Curtis Rogers drafting with Michael Eden. They might be okay. And then we got Mike Davenport, Chad Ross. Both of these guys on the lead lap with clean trucks right now. I think the 55 maybe should just stay in line, push this 38 so they don't have to worry about going a lap down, and they're going to have to need a caution. Danny Barnes by himself, so is Jimmy Reynolds. Little surprised Jimmy wasn't able to hang on to the 59 of Mark Vondell, and they're a 3x3 up here. Boy, that didn't take long. Mark Vondell currently 3 seconds back, by the way. But the battle up front, as they're 3 wide, they're going to have to go 4 wide right here if they don't sort it out. Looks like Ken McCall Jr. thinking about letting him in. Oh, he's not going to do it. This is going to get really tight. Ron Morris Jr. actually gets up into the wall, trying everything he can to give these guys room, but they get by it cleanly. That bottom lane right now with Joshua McCall, middle, Ken McCall Jr. In the top is the 27, Steve Korsek. We have seen him and Zachary Lima both working so good together. They're going to stay together. Both Dale Cup drivers. Find your teammates where you can get them. Now we see the 2 drop down to the low line. Thought about going to the middle, but he's going to stick to the bottom with his teammate there, Sean Hill. You see these guys really bouncing around in the tribal now. They got to be careful. But if this 3rd lane gets a 3rd truck, that's when they're going to get even more dangerous. These 2 staying up with only 2 should already be a sign that those guys got some speed and power under the hood. Those 2 Chevys. And right now, pretty much all Chevys up here. I see a Toyota, 2 Toyotas, Larry McDonald and stuff. Don't really see manufactured teammates in iRacing as much as we do in real life, but if you wanted to see it, show it for you right there. Look on your scoring tower. Big group of Chevys, just a couple of Toyotas. John Mullihan moving around just a little bit. You see Zachary Lima feeling it a little bit. He slides up, hoping that 19 can just keep it in the middle. You know who looks really, really confident though out here right now? Looks like a veteran out here is the 2. The rookie, Joshua McCall. He might get himself a win here in his debut race, at least the one that I've broadcasted. I don't remember seeing him anytime before this. But up front, the Mountain Dew paint scheme. Sean Hill, nowhere to go. We'll just stick back and push. They've got a trustworthy car in John Ward. Truck, rather. Man, we've been in the cars for the last couple weeks. I can't seem to want to say trucks. Ken McCall Jr., though, still leading the middle lane. Steve Korsak up top with Zachary Lima. We will be coming to 14 laps to go next time. Can we make it all the way? I don't know. These guys are getting really crazy. Quick reminder, let me know how the audio sounds. I did turn the truck volume up as well as my audio. If I'm too loud, let me know. If the trucks are too loud, too quiet, please also let me know. Won't be able to fix it if you guys don't let me know. Ken McCall Jr., though, the momentum has kind of stuck with the bottom here. Usually we see it stick with the middle or top line, but not really the case. Not sure if this is coming down to a battle of just who's the better pusher right now. But yeah, that top, not really able to get it going. Of course, they only have 2 trucks compared to that middle bottom line, which both have 4. Larry McDonald, though, here we go. Ooh, he thought about jumping to the top. Maybe thinks twice about it. Realizes doesn't want to hurt his teammate who's currently leading that middle and bottom line. David Sheets sitting in the back of this group. He knows he's got nowhere to go. He's just going to ride around and see if these guys wreck out. Got to play it smart sometimes. Sometimes the smartest option. David knows if he goes 4 wide, he's probably not going to get any help. Besides that, there's just not really anywhere to go with these guys being 3 wide. Big hornet's nest is what we would call it. So they're just going to sit here right now. Sit in the back. Maybe a couple truck lengths off as you see him there. And if they wreck and he avoids it, all of a sudden he very well might find himself up near the front of this. And these guys really snaking out. Boy, that inside is pushing hard. You can't really push if you're that 3rd truck in line. You kind of can if we were in the next gens, maybe even the Xfinity. But these trucks, very, very sensitive. If you get even a little sideways and then you take a bump in the back at that same time, it's not going to work out well. And we are coming to 12 laps to go. Will Danny Eshelman, Larry McDonald, Eddie Hawks, any of those guys that are further in the back of this pack, think about going to the 3rd lane. I always thought if you were not one of those top 3 cars in the lane, maybe you think about going to a different lane. It looks like Larry McDonald is going to indeed try that now. Jumps to the top. And we will see now if Steve Korsak and Zachary Lima can get clear with help from the 80 truck. Larry McDonald, one of the few Toyotas up here. Only other Toyota that we can see right now is Eddie Hawks in the 45. He's all the way on the bottom. And now this top lane is starting to make some headway. The 27 Steve Korsak almost got clear of the middle, though cannot quite do it. Now he does. Will he drop down? Looks like he doesn't just yet. Wow, I'm a little surprised by that. Must like his tandem partner in the 4 of Zachary Lima because, man, he got clear. I thought for sure he would drop down to the middle, get in front of Ken McCall Jr., break up that McCall Motorsports duo, the middle and bottom, because let me tell you something, Ken McCall Jr., if he gets clear of that bottom, I don't necessarily think he's going anywhere. It looks like Danny Eshelman is thinking about bailing out. Now the 27 drops to the bottom, 11 laps to go. Steve Korsak, will he try to go all the way to the bottom now? Ken McCall Jr., take a ride on board with him here and see the job he can do pushing down the backstretch. Can he get him clear? Look at this, locks on. Ooh, gives him a little shot right there. He's going to have to let off. Doesn't want to hit him offset. Sean Hill trying to give that to a push as well. And you see just how tight things get here. Boy, he doesn't have a lot of room to his left or ahead of him. And out of turn 4, you'll see in turn here doesn't want to get on the bumper. Late in the race, guys might experiment, might try it as we see a couple lap cars further ahead. They're going to play a factor in the end of this thing. Ken McCall Jr. tries to stay as close as he can, uses the air to push him through the corners. And once we get on the straightaway, contact is going to be made. Now we see him jump to the outside, 3 wide. Into turn 1, he's going to get some help from John Mohan. That's not a teammate, but they've been working pretty well together. Zachary Lima further back. That's going to make Danny Eshelman the pusher of the 27. Will Sean Hill think about making a move on his teammate John Ward? Oh, the 77 around on the back. He looks like he could hold on for a minute. I'm not sure if he was able to hold on all the way. Oh, he does. What a save from the 77. Can he stay in the draft, though? I don't think so. Oh, that is unfortunate, but wow, what a save. Up front, though, now it's going to be Ken McCall Jr. They are 4 wide now. John Ward in the middle. John Mullihan by himself on the top. Can they sort it out? Ken McCall Jr. getting a push now from Steve Korosek. Back to the point on the bottom, Joshua McCall. Now we see Larry McDonald try 3 wide. Zachary Lima doesn't bite. We have had a lot of lead changes there in that last lap or two. Steve Korosek, if he wants to jump to that 3rd lane now, he has the 2 guys that helped him do it last time, Larry McDonald and Zachary Lima. However, I don't necessarily know if Larry McDonald would go with him this time. He's looking at his teammate up in front. If those 2 trucks leave him, Ken McCall Jr. is going to be saying on the radio, guys, I need help. Those lap cars slowly getting bigger and bigger. We'll pull it up on the track map, and you see it there. The main pack is coming up on the 17. It looks like, can't tell exactly who this is. 65, Curtis Rogers. It doesn't look like it is going to be. Yep, actually that is who it's going to be. It's going to be Michael Eden and Curtis Rogers. This main group is coming up on 3x3, and you better believe they're not going to sort it out. Steve Korosek now gets back clear of the middle. I think he's trying really hard to bring Zachary Lima with him, though, but he can't do it that time. If he could get that 4 clear, I think they'd both jump to the middle, and they would set sail to try to win this thing. Ken McCall Jr., though, gets a side draft off the 45 of Eddie Hawks. Ooh, Larry McDonald washes up just in the 27. These guys all on older tires now. Trucks not as bad on handling some of these other series, but it's going to play a little bit of a factor, and now this inside may be getting close to catching a bit of a draft from those lap cars, and that would definitely help them pull ahead just a little bit. It's going to be all about timing with these lap cars. If they can catch them anywhere on the front stretch or triable, probably the best place to do it, as it is the widest part on the track, but the 4 and the 27 looking like the best duo right now. Up top, they are getting locked on. And now Ken McCall Jr. only has his teammate Larry McDonald behind him. They're going to need a little bit more help to hold it. Now the bottom in the draft of those lappers. And we'll see if these guys can somehow find a way to get back to 2x2 before we catch the lappers. Otherwise, you better believe nobody's letting out. We are going to go 4x4 for a couple rows. Curtis Rogers trying to dive low. Oh, this is going to get really sketchy. Got to be careful. They go by Michael Eden. Now Ken McCall Jr. dives low. They're not going to be able to avoid it. They're wrecking big out back. Yellow flag is out. Larry McDonald's in it. Michael Eden, he also gets involved. John Ward's going to sneak through. Danny Eshelman's in it. And I'll tell you what, I really didn't like what I saw there from the lap cars. Got to be a little bit more disciplined in getting out of the way or keeping a line. These guys were already a lap down doing that. These leaders not going to be happy, and I really think that was an avoidable wreck. But let's go back and take a look exactly what happened here. You saw it just kind of clustered up. Eventually, guys making contact, nowhere to go. And then once it starts, it's like a firework, just won't stop. Let's take a look first from the blimp cam here. Actually, let's see how Chopper looks. This might give us a better view. Yep, sure enough, here we go. So this is going to start a little further back. You see him catching these lap cars here. First come up there on Michael Eden. They're going to go 4 wide around him. No issues. The 18 does get in the wall a little bit. That probably scared Zachary Lima a little bit as he starts coming down right here, but they're going to be able to sneak by, it looks like. Yep, sure enough. But right here, Ken McCall Jr. is going to try to dive low to avoid Curtis Rogers, just kind of sitting in the lane. Larry McDonald thinking about following, makes contact with the 2 of his teammate Joshua McCall. Eddie Hawks not able to get woed up in time. They make contact with a 65, and now the wreck is on. And at this point, you got to just try to find a way to get around it. Oh, wow, the 6 gets tipped over by the 80 of Larry McDonald. He's going to go for a ride. Like that thing finally lands back on all 4. Didn't quite go all the way around, but John Mullihan has damage. Michael Eden did a pretty good job of staying off the 80 of Larry McDonald. You see he's got it locked up, and then John Ward, who is further back, he's able to get around it with no issues. Let's take a quick ride on board here, though. But Danny Eshelman, as he went for a pretty wild ride. And he is going to have to use a fast car on that machine for sure. Here we go. And that looked like one of those weight shift crashes where you just get hit on one side so quick, just tips the truck right over. And we will go to pit lane in just, well, actually, let's head there now. It's like not a super busy place, but we see some trucks down here, the damaged trucks of John Mullihan in the 19 and Larry McDonald in the 80. John Mullihan does use his fast repair. Be interesting to see if Larry McDonald does too. Looks like he's also going to take 4 tires further back. This is going to be David Sheets making his way out of pit road. Let's talk about your top 5. It did get shuffled up a bit. Steve Korosek going to be leading us to green here with what is going to be, looks like 3 to go. The lights are still on the pace truck. Ken McCall Jr. second, Zachary Lima third, Joshua McCall fourth. Looks like that truck's still clean. I didn't know if he'd get any damage from that. And Eddie Hawk's going to be fifth. Eddie, another driver, thought maybe he'd have a little bit of damage to the front, and it looks like he actually does. Just crumpled a little bit. See if we can go to his cockpit view. He might be able to tell. And it looks like if you compare there, look on the right side. See how it's bumped up just a little bit. Yeah, it looks like he may just have a slight crumple as we saw him get into the back. One of his teammates just slightly. It wasn't heavy contact by any means. I think he's going to be okay. If you don't have a lot of damage, you are not using that fast repair right now, and you surely want track position. Somebody should have got their lap back from this. I'm not 100% sure who it was. Chad Ross in pit road. It looks like it is going to be the 76 of Ron Morris Jr. getting it. So that is your lucky dog. Driver out of Columbia, South Carolina. Owner of RMR. Hosted a great race on Tuesday. Hosted a great series that's just starting up. Tuesday Night Thunder Payouts Weekly. And I'm talking about a big championship race with big money. Over a grand probably going to be on the line. Make sure you go check that out. If you guys are just tuning in, we are getting ready to go back green next time around. It is the PGR Money Racing Series at Talladega Superspeedway in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. 2 cautions so far here tonight. Both for crashes involving multiple cars. Haven't had anybody retire yet, though. Unfortunately, though, Michael Triscaro 5 laps down, so actually he has retired, maybe headed up to race control. Curtis Rogers also still sitting on pit road. Michael Eden. Those two did have to use their fast spare early, so while they haven't officially retired, they may just be leaving it on pit road for the rest of the race. Let's see if this is going to mix up the manufacturers at all. We are going to have a Toyota of Eddie Hawks in 5th. Besides that, you see just about everybody in the field is Chevys. Larry McDonald, another exception in the Toyota. Looks like Robert Miller says, let's go McCall Motorsports. There's a lot of them in the race tonight. Still a lot of them up here, so wouldn't be surprised to see them get it done. Robbie Dixon says, Talladega is my favorite track on the NASCAR circuit. And you can see why it provides some of this great racing that we have seen tonight. I think if those lap cars maybe didn't quite pan out the way they did, we would have saw a classic 3, maybe even 4-wide finish that would have already ended. These guys now going to get it all sorted out. They're not going to have to worry about any lappers here because this is going to be a 3-lap shootout. Remember how the rules work. If we were to need to go to overtime, if we make it to the white flag under green, next flag would end it. But in iRacing, they're not going to throw the caution on that white flag lap. These guys will just race it out. If they wreck, so be it. Whoever gets through, it's going to have a shot at it. If we don't make it to the white flag, then we get a caution before then. We will rack them up and do a 2-lap shootout. Cody Neagles says Dale Cup for the win. Coro and Lima. Steve Korsek, Zachary Lima going to be lined up on the bottom. That is a dangerous duo. Better watch out for him. You are not going to be able to defend those two if they get hooked together and they're able to hold off that big run on the outside. If you guys are just tuning in, get ready. We are going to be going to a 3-lap shootout. It looks like Ken McCall Jr. has... Actually, that's just his paint scheme. I was about to say, it looks like he maybe has a little crumple. I'm not sure where he got that from. But he's all good to go. So is the 27, Steve Korsek, row 2. It's going to be Zachary Lima, Joshua McCall. So this is going to be a battle of teammates. The inside, those two working together. The outside, those two are working together. But they are also going to have a third teammate of John Ward. Let's see what happens. Green flag is back in the air. Steve Korsek with a big jump further back. Zachary Lima, Ken McCall Jr. side draft to doing everything they can. Joshua McCall, maybe a little bit of that inexperience, really didn't get the restart he needed. This is hurting Ken McCall Jr. But this is going to stack the momentum up. We'll see if Eddie Hawks maybe thinks about jumping high in front of his teammate. He's got a chance if he wants it. Sure enough, there he goes, the 45. Joshua McCall jumps 3 wide. Now he ducks back in line. Up front, though, the 4 and the 27 are locked on. They're going to be able to hold off this run. We see a lot of shuffling further back. We will be coming to 2 laps. It goes next time. Oh, they're wrecking out back, wrecking hard. 55, big hit. That's Mike Davenport, and this is going to be the big one. Guys piling up. We got another one on their roof. The 17 slides across the grass. Chad Ross is in it. Danny Barnes now flips back over. David Sheets has damage, and this collects just about the whole field. I only saw about 3-4 guys, it looks like, that got through this. Eddie Hawks, John Mullahan, looks like he does have some damage. Overall got through it, though. And let's go see what brings out the third caution and the big one, which we knew had to happen at some point so far here tonight. And this, oh wow, this starts even further back here. Let's take a look at this. It looked like it started with Joshua McCall. So we're going to go to him, and we're going to look from the blimp cam. Something about the chopper. Here we go. So let's see if we can figure out how this starts. Oh, this is going to be a stack up. The 19, John Mullahan. Oh, he's going to hit John Ward right into the 2. And this is going to put the 2 out of line. John Ward, more contact. The 19 stacked him on his bumper. That turns Joshua McCall down the track into Mike Davenport. Mike Davenport went for a wild ride. Boom, right up into that outside wall, hard hit. And then they're just piling in here. Nowhere to go for a lot of these guys. Larry McDonald spinning. The 55. Oh, my goodness. Ken McCall Jr., he's going to get pretty significant damage. Then we're going to see Danny Barnes actually go up and over right here. Gets pinned up by the 59. Takes a shot in the back from the 80. He gets on his roof. Michael Trescaro trying to sneak through. It looks like maybe he did without too much damage. And let's ride on board with a couple different people. First person is going to be Mike Davenport, who somehow landed back. Looked like he went to space for a minute. Let's ride on board with him here. And I'm not sure how there's any suspension left in that truck after he hit the ground. Looked like the truck was dropped from a helicopter about 100 feet up. And now let's go back and take a ride on board with Danny Barnes, who we also saw get upside down in that incident. Here we go, riding on board with the 7. That's a long, slow slide down the banking for the 7. Maybe a little bit better, though. They didn't get hit any harder. Let's go back live. Talk about your top 5 now, because we are going to be going into our first overtime. Sitting in first, Steve Korsek. Second, Zachary Lima. Third is going to be Sean Hill. Fourth, Eddie Hawks. Rounding out the top 5, Team 3 driver Chad Ross. Behind them, this is starting to turn in for a couple of these guys, just who has the cleanest truck. Mark Mondella, he looks pretty clean. John Ward as well. Ken McCall Jr. had a faster car. I'm assuming he probably had to use it. Robbie Dixon says, I'll be darned. That's a new meaning to the big one. Absolutely. For a small field, a wreck like that to take out that many people, that sure was crazy. Steve Korsek, though, and Zachary Lima looked so good on that last restart. It just really didn't look like anybody had anything for him. We saw Joshua McCall not get the best restart. We talked about he is a new guy out here, just a little bit of that inexperience. Finds himself back in 11th, gets caught up in that last wreck. And maybe let's conclude kind of what we thought happened on that last wreck. And I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll go back one more quick time here so I can show you exactly what I'm talking about. Because I think this is going to start potentially here with John Mullahan. I wasn't 100% sure, so I don't want to say anything until we look at it. And that has already happened there, so we'll back it up a little more. You saw they're kind of just a big stack-up effect. Eventually, John Ward, John Mullahan got into each other, and then they got into the 2, got the 2 turned around. And that's all it took. Chain reaction caused a wreck that big. It's kind of interesting. Sometimes we'll see wrecks happen in the front, and the whole field misses it. Other times, like there, we see a wreck happen a couple rows back, and somehow the rest of the field, no matter what they try, is not able to avoid it. Pace truck lights are off. That means we're going to go green this time. Let's give you a quick reminder about where Ghost Racing Network will be seen next. With the Daytona races coming up, we will not be here tomorrow, Saturday, Sunday, but we will be back Monday for the 2023 Fast Track Capital Auto Daytona 250. First league that I've been covering here as the Green Ghost on Ghost Racing Network. You see it there, February 20th, green flag, 9 p.m., biggest race of the year. We had the duels last week, or duels this week rather, and the Clash the week before. Those guys were putting on an excellent showing. First race in the No Bull 5 as well. Similar to the Dash for Cash for Xfinity. So the stream for that race will go up probably sometime around 8:50, 8:55. Make sure you don't miss out. Let's go back live. Zachary Lima going to be on the outside. Steve Korosek on the inside. Not sure if they'll try to link up, or at this point, if they're both going to go for the win. Eddie Hawks, Sean Hill making up the second row. Third row is going to be Danny Eshelman on the outside. Chad Ross on the inside. The 6 has some pretty significant front end damage. We'll see if that affects him in the draft, and if it does, how bad. Depends on if it's engine damage or just aero. Bobby Dixon says, I see a guy racing from a hometown, Savannah, Georgia. I hope that guy wins it. Well, we're about to find out if he can. I'm not sure who it is. I have seen some Savannah, Georgias. Here we go, though. This is going to be hopefully the final restart. It's NASCAR overtime here in PGR Money Racing at Talladega Superspeedway. Steve Korosek rolls into the Geico restart zone. Green flag is back out. Who's going to take home the money tonight? Ooh, Eddie Hawks didn't get the best restart. Almost had to jump down further back. John Mullihan has to jump out of line. Sean Hill tried to go 3 wide. Couldn't. Zachary Lima's going to pin him down. And Sean Hill's going to try to really push this 27 out in front right here before the 45. Eddie Hawk. But Steve Korosek, a little surprised to see this. He likes his teammate. Jumped right to the top in front of that Ford truck. Zachary Lima, that's going to open the bottom up to Sean Hill. We make it to the white flag. Remember, no more cautions. Chad Ross now giving Sean Hill a big push. Momentum with the inside. Further back, we see 3 wide. John Ward's trying to get in on it. Diving into turn 3. John Ward now has his teammate Ken McCall Jr. behind him. Up front, though, it's still the 27 and the 77. Sean Hill has a nose out in front. 92 of John Ward. They really need a third truck. Eddie Hawks jump up into the tribal. Now the 27 has the advantage again. Joshua McCall is going to go to the third lane. 3x3. White flag in the air one more time around. John Ward now gets his nose out in front. The bottom's starting to fade. Who can push the hardest here on this last lap? Temperature doesn't matter. If you are in the back now, you might as well forget about it. All up front is where this battle is. Little bit of contact. Everybody trying to keep together. Chad Ross washes up. Now he gets back on the bumper. The 77. Steve Korosek almost gets clear of the bottom. If he does, will he try to drop low? He does get clear of the 77. We'll see if he tries to stay with the 4th. Zachary Lima looks like he's going to. Ken McCall Jr. now really pushing on the 92. Down low. Here comes the 77. At a turn 4 for the final time. Further back. Can they hold it together? Contact. Chad Ross still pushing the 77. It's the 4, the 27 up top. This is going to be a drag race all the way to the line. Side by side through the tribal. The outside has the advantage. It's going to be Steve Korosek winning at Talladega. What a finish. What a push from his teammate. Wrecking out back, but it doesn't matter. Up front, the 27. Driver from Cleveland, Ohio. He gets the win. Zachary Lima pushes him to it. And here he is. He's going to burn it down across the line. A little bit of a different burnout here, but he is going to do a burnout with his man who got him to the win, the 4 car of Zachary Lima. Very, very nice demonstration of teamwork all night. You know, I don't even think we showed Zach's driver info. We tried to show everybody, but somehow we forgot about him tonight, even though he was up front all race. The Red Bull Racing Machine. And he always seems to be fast when he comes out here. But your winner tonight was Steve Korosek. We are, of course, as always, going to try to get interviews with your top 3. Just depends on who all gets in here. Don't have anybody right now, but he's burning that thing all the way down pit road, and that is a heck of a burnout. You don't see people do burnouts like that too often. Let's go to the cockpit view. Very, very impressive burnout. Reminds me of one of Denny Hamlin's. Trying to do it till these tires blow out. I don't know if he's going to be able to do it, though. Finally spins it around. And while he continues to celebrate, let's get over here and talk about your finishing results tonight. Remember, top 5 were the ones that got paid out. Note that Steve Korsek, though, you saw it, came home first in the 27. Second is going to be Sean Hill. I thought it was Zachary Lima, but it was not. Sean Hill came home second. Third is going to be Zachary Lima. Fourth, Chad Ross. Fifth, Eddie Hawk. Sixth, John Ward. Seventh is going to be Mark Von Dell. Eighth, Ken McCall Jr. Ninth, Ron Morris Jr. 10th, Joshua McCall. 11th, John Mullahan. 12th is going to be Jimmy Reynolds. 13th, Danny Eshelman. 14th, Danny Barnes. 15th, Mike Davenport. 16th, Larry McDonald. 17th is going to be David Sheets. 18th, Michael Eden. 19th, Michael Triscaro. And then last tonight is going to be the 65 machine of Curtis Rogers. While we are still waiting for all these guys to get in here and jump in the booth, let's take a look real quick at this last lap, because it was a little wild there at the line. Everybody did a really good job, though, of keeping it together. Made it an awesome finish for us. Here we go. This was coming to the travel. This was the main area where things actually mattered. Things got really interesting. You see these guys were side by side, bumping and banging. Didn't know if they would make it. 77 got a push, but it was just too little too late. Oh boy, and he barely edged out Zachary Lima at the line. Actually, no, it is showing Zachary Lima did get second on my data here. Let's see if we can actually see it. Sometimes the overlay info likes to mess itself up. See if we can tell here who gets second between the 77 and the 04. They did make contact. And that looks to me like the 4 Zachary Lima got it. So I take that back. Looks like Zachary Lima did indeed come home with second. Barely if he did, though. Either way, second or third, that's still good payout. Let's see if your top 3 have managed to make it in here just yet. Let's back this up a little bit. Pull the results up for you guys while we get these top 3, just in case you missed anything. And it looks like we do have a couple in here, so I'm going to go get them, and I'll be right back. Get interviews with your top 3. All right, and it looks like I did get it mixed up again. Your third place finisher, we just did get confirmation from him himself, was Zachary Lima. Zach, you got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Well, how about it? You pushed the 27 of Steve Korsek to the win. You almost managed to get second by yourself, too, with that. Not quite, but how did you get the 27 to the win, and how'd you guys work so well together all night?
Yeah, Steve is my teammate, and we were in Discord the whole time, and we just got hooked up and prayed we didn't get taken out that last run towards the end, and it worked out. I'm glad Steve got the win.
Well, it worked out well. Before we let you go, though, tonight, is there anyone you want to thank or shout out?
Yeah, just shout out to my teammate Steve Korosek, and we were also working with Jimmy Reynolds. I just want to thank those guys, and I want to thank you for broadcasting the race. We appreciate it, man.
Thank you, man. Congrats on your third place finisher.
Thank you, sir.
That was Zachary Lima, and we are going to get Sean Hill in a minute, but he's not in here. So before we get to him, let's jump straight to your winner, Mr. Steve Korsek. Steve, you got a copy?
Gotcha.
Well, we just heard from who was your teammate tonight. You guys worked so well together. I thought you guys would be the winning duo. Sure enough, you get the win. How'd you do it?
I just had good teammates, and the strategy was to stay up front. Thought it was the safest place, and I've been running with Lima Superspeedway racing for 3 years. So we know how each other run, and it was just a really fun race too. The three wide at the end was pretty intense, but we got it done. And I'm just really happy about it. It's a good race.
Well, you certainly got it done, and you should be happy. Before we let you go, is there anyone you want to thank or shout out?
Yeah, shout out to Dale Cup, shout out to Lima and Jimmy, ran with them tonight, and shout out to you for the broadcast and Michael for the league and money races. It's really fun.
All right, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. That is your winner tonight, Steve Korosek. And now we're going to go to your second place finisher, Sean Hill. Sean, you got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Well, you lost it by just about a truck length. What more did you need there at the line to get the win?
Yeah, I was just drifting up way too high, and Chad wasn't really hitting me square because I was drifting up. There's not much more I could have done.
Well, you certainly gave it a pretty good effort. It looked like you came off the 38 a little bit there at the end. I'm not sure if that's what you were referring to, but I'll tell you what, you and Chad Ross certainly worked really good there at the end. Did you guys have a game plan, or did you just find each other at the end?
Yeah, we just found each other. I know Chad. I know he's gonna push the hell out of me. Yeah, so big thanks to him for sticking with me.
All right, and before we let you go, is there anyone else you would like to thank or shout out?
Yeah, thank you to Michael for putting these things on. Thank you to all of McCullough Motorsports for helping me out tonight, and thank you to you for streaming this.
All right, no problem. Thank you for the interview. That is your second place finisher, Sean Hill in the 77. All right, so we did go back and take a look at the last lap. That should just about wrap it up for us here tonight at Ghost Racing Network. Couple reminders. You saw it there. Remember, the top 5 did get paid out, so Eddie Hawks was your last driver finishing in a money spot. Congratulations to Steve Korosek on his win in the 27 machine. You heard him there. Big thanks to Zachary Lima. Those two worked together so good. Want to thank you all for coming out tonight. It was a great night of racing. Pretty good broadcast, too. Saw a lot of you in here. If you liked what you were seeing, don't forget to give us a like. And if you're new, follow us if it ain't too much for you. We'll see you guys next time. That will be Monday. We're back here for the Fast Track Sim Racing Cup Series, but it will be at Daytona International Speedway. We'll see you then. Have a good night.